give you guys a wee walk through what you guys are going to be doing for week 2. So there's 3 files that you're going to download or that you're going to work on within Teams. So the first one is the PowerPoint, like it was last week. The second one is the write-on sheet. You can choose to use this. You could do this on your own paper if you don't want to do it on the write-on sheet, but everything that you need to do through the PowerPoint is listed here. And then the third one is this. This is the one thing that you have to turn in, and that's your turn-in task. And so for this week, you guys are going to be doing a Venn diagram, and we're going to walk through. That's the last thing we're going to talk about, because that's what we're doing as sort of the ending of this. All right, so the first thing you're doing is your starter task. Now, last week we were talking about, you guys did the reading on China, and you had to answer the 6 questions at the end. So I want you guys to write down 2 facts that you know about communism that you remember from last week that makes it a wee bit different from capitalism, which is what America has. Okay, so if you want to, go ahead and pause the video, do that. But then I'm just going to move on. Okay, so write down 2 facts that you can remember. All right. So then you get into basically discussing what is a political ideology. Political ideology is a set of beliefs or views about how the government should be ran. So in America, or in China, it's something called communism. In America, it's a different one. I've kind of spoiled the answer on that question because it says capitalism. All right, and capitalism is a lot different from communism, and to kind of let you guys figure that out on your own, not that I don't want to tell you, but there's some really distinct differences. All right, so what you guys are going to need to do is read each one of these, and then over here, so you're going to put it into your own words. So summarize in a few sentences the differences between communism and capitalism. If you're doing this in your own paper and you weren't using the write-on sheet, that's absolutely fine. It says the same instructions right there. So then you would just, I've realized that that's a bit of a mistake. Right now the text is white, and I'll make sure that that's going to default it to something different when you guys actually start typing on this. So then that's whenever you would take communism shuns private individual ownership of land and other vital resources, blah, 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 blah. I'm letting you guys do that. I'm not going to explain it to you. I know that probably seems a bit unfair, but I want you to have a shot at putting this into your own words. And if you're able to do that, you have a really good understanding of what it is that you need to do. All right, so that's where you would say private ownership is, all right, we'll start off with communism. In communism, private ownership is bad, would be a way that you could summarize that. And then go through line by line and change it into your own words and try and shorten it up. And do the same thing for capitalism. By the time you get to the end of that, you'll be able to do the same. Now, if it does pop up that yours is type in white, because obviously you can't see that, guys, all you need to do is pop up here and change the color. Change it to whatever color you want, really, but easiest bet is to go as black. Once you change the colors, you can type all over that. This might be something that comes up, so I might not be able to fix it for everyone depending on how you download it, but that's how you go about changing it. So just change the text color. Once again, if you want to do this on your own paper instead of having to deal with this, by all means go for it. All right, as you go through, the first one we're going to talk about is China. Okay, so we don't have you may have your jotters. If you're preferring to do your notes in your jotter, once again, do that. If you're not, then we'll do it this way. See, all of these are set up where you can type on them. All right, as you go through, whether you do it in your jotter, you're going to draw this diagram and different stuff like that. So the first thing we're looking for is who are the leaders and what are their titles. So if, as far as leaders and titles, we got here, and so the leader is Xi Jinping. All right, and what is his title? He is the president. Easy enough. All right. There's another leader that you would want to throw in. So there's Xi Jinping. There's some information about him. All right, and there's Li Keqiang, and he is the premier. So you would write his name there. The official name of the country as you go through is the where is that? Is the, here it is, the People's Government of China. All right. So the official name of the country is the People's Republic of China. Now, as you're going through it, you'll see another slide. We've just had to change it. Officially, it goes into place on the 20th, so we're a bit early writing this. But so Donald Trump is technically still the president. But as you guys know from last week, on the 20th, which is in 4 days' time from now, which I'm recording this on Friday, is going to be the president. So looking at this, let's see when exactly that is. So that is going to be Wednesday. Joe Biden becomes president. So you guys might be doing this before he's officially the president. So you guys might be doing this after he became the president, in which case we would say we would be changing this to he became president, obviously. All right, so the first one we're going to talk about is China. And as you go through, you're going to fill this out. All right, official name, and there's some stuff right there. Now, each one of these, you're going to be adding information here. So you need to put in here, you need to finish off the diagram, the party. All right. Oh, poor spelling on my part, the party. Right, etc., etc. You're going to fill that out. Okay. Make sure that you look through, and you need to copy it just like you would do if you're doing this in your jar. The triangle represents the 3 areas of rule of China. And there's different bits that go into each one. So you're going to make sure in these boxes you include the information from the arrows about each one. Okay. Then the ruling party is the Communist Party. Go through. There's information there. Now, I've just gone ahead and plugged this one into the write-on sheet. It's good information to have. If you're able to print this out and stuff like that, this would be really handy. And then you will need to copy in these things. So here's the bottom part where you talk about what is the State Council, what is the National People's Congress, and what is the Supreme People's Court. And then answer a couple of questions. Okay? These are the 2 questions. Who holds most power? And give one reason why to justify it. The next one you're going to do, we have the American system. Okay? And same thing that we did there. You don't have as many diagrams, so mainly what you're talking about, we got Joe Biden as the president. Ooh, that's a mistake. That's one that I missed. Joe Biden. All right. So yeah, so you're going through and you need to, I'll need to fix that. I'm the one that you guys can download. All right, changed it here. So go through what is the lead, who are the leaders and their titles. That's where you write Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And it kind of discusses different things. The government, there's 3 branches of government. And they are the president, which is the executive, the legislative, which is the Congress. There's 2 parts of the Congress, and the judicial, which is the Supreme Court. And there they are right there. So you label this and you talk about the different ways. There's something called checks and balances that they can do to kind of check each other's power. Like, for example, what's happening right now is Congress has decided to impeach President Trump. And that's happened once before. He's the first president to have it happen twice. All right. But at the same, so that's a power that Congress has over the president. But at the same time, when Congress passes a law, if the president doesn't like it, he can veto it, which means like strike it down. And then the Supreme Court can say that presidential actions are unconstitutional. So if he does something, or she, hopefully in the future, as well, if they do something, if the president does something, the Supreme Court can say, look, you're not allowed to do that. And that's happened before as well. All right, but a wee power that the president has over the Supreme Court is the president is the person who chooses who the judges will be. So they all have some different powers over each other, and that's something called checks and balances, because they try to keep the different make sure that no one branch of government has too much power. And these are what the different branches of government officially do. All right, so the executive. So the easy way that I think to do it, the executive enforces the law, the legislative makes the laws, and the Supreme Court decides whether or not they're in line with the Constitution or whether or not they're legal. And that's called checks and balances. And there's your question there. What is checks and balances? Here's something about the Trump impeachment. why was Donald Trump impeached? That was Now, this is all like changing as we go along because he's about to be impeached. He's getting impeached the second time. So if you want to add some information or see if you can do your own research about the Trump impeachment, that would be really good as a good task. If you got a bit of free time, I'd like you guys to maybe try and figure out why he's being impeached now as current news, which is really big. And then go through and look at the diagram, and so basically go through it and fill out the different information on there. Okay, the last thing that you're doing, and there's two parties, and you guys know this from your research task last week. The Republicans are an elephant, the Democrats are a donkey, and they have different viewpoints. Okay, the question is though, who holds the most power? And it's a bit different from China, and the main thing that looks different is the way that they tried to balance out power between these guys. I won't give you guys the answer, but I think you'll be able to sort out that's a little bit of a different structure. Now, your final task this week that you're turning in is a compare and contrast task. And in this, you're going to go to the assignment section, or however your teacher set up their setup, and you're going to do a Venn diagram. Okay, and when doing that, you should have information about the president on both sides, the sections of government's political party, who holds the power. Be a really good way to showcase the things that you've learned just now. How are they different? How are they similar? Okay, and to do that, that's when we set up this one, which is where you'd actually turn this in. And so it's already kind of set up where you have a few different stages and things like that in it. So there's the task again. And here's where you would actually go about filling it out. So this isn't indicative of how many things you have to put in. I just wanted to make sure it was all set up so you could type on it. Like, for example, China is communist and the USA is capitalist. I cannot spell. Right. They both have a president. Does that make sense? So as you go through, fill that out, add as much detail. This might not be enough space for you. The more detail that you add, the better. The font size is quite high on this, so if you end up finding that you have a lot of detail and you're wanting to get a bit more in, change it. I wouldn't go any smaller than 12, but that's going to allow you to put a lot more stuff in there. Okay, so this is what you're going to have to turn into your teacher. Okay, the rest of it is for your jotters or for your notebooks and stuff like that. So if you have any questions, ask your class teacher. You can ask me as well. But yeah, so it's a bit of a change this week because we're setting up individual teams for each class. But this is a wee tool for you guys to use. So it was really good catching up with you guys, even though I don't get to see you on a video walkthrough. But hopefully this is something that helps you guys complete the tasks. All right, have a nice day.